welcome to Marketing Mavericks, the podcast where we explore the cutting edge of content marketing. I am your host Pranjal Ritolia, and today we are thrilled to have Kaushik Mukherjee, the co-founder of Sugar Cosmetics, with us. And I am Ahmedabad Alam, who has mastered the craft of blending content marketing with influencer strategies, turning sugar into a powerful brand in the digital age. Today, in this particular episode, we will unravel the secrets of content marketing. So, why wait? Let's begin. Hello, Kaushik. We are so excited to have you with us. Let's begin with the questions.
Okay. So the first question. So basically, we wanted to understand like how has Sugar's content strategy evolved over time, like particularly in response to the changes in social media algorithms and audience behavior.
So, you know, when you have social media algorithms, everybody tries to hack the algorithm to get more reach and more impressions. But the minute you start hacking it, it becomes a playbook. The minute you have a playbook, it leaks and many brands and people copy it. So you always have to keep changing. There is no one solution or a golden playbook that's going to help you sail through multiple years. So actually, when we started leveraging content to build awareness for the brand, we were very product first because that time there were two things that cluttered anybody's feed. Either it was entertainment, which would be challenges. I mean, people would tag others. It's gone down now, but earlier it used to be a lot of I tag three friends, those three friends tag other three friends. It used to be challenges, so entertainment, things like do the hook step challenge and all of that. And it used to be a lot of sales. It used to be like, this is the product, buy this product, offers. If I were to sum it up, one tenet that has stayed true is like, don't sell a product, tell a story. Telling greater than selling. And that is what social media has evolved to. And I think it's par for the course. I mean, that's how, and that's not going away.
That was really insightful. So moving on to the next question. So given
Yep.
that every brand is creating content nowadays, how do you
Yeah.
ensure like Sugar brand voice stands out and remain relevant? So is there any kind of technique that Sugar uses to reduce churn in content audience?
Um, there is no, there is no silver bullet that you just say that we are not going to lose. Some people churn out. I mean, it's okay, I think, if people churn out because you may be at one point in time when you're preparing for the festive season, you want to be exposed to more beauty and something maybe you're not. So I think one thing which we do is that we don't continuously talk about our products all the time. You will find a lot of our posts where we amplify the stories and the work of other
Yeah.
artists, and they may not necessarily be makeup artists; they may be budding influencers as well. You'll find that even when you look at influencers, we assume that there are a lot of they're very large influencers with 500k, 1 million plus followers, 200k plus followers. I think I think there are a lot of amazing creators who, you first became a creator, then you become an influencer. And when you are a creator, the amount of effort you put into the content you create is far higher because you need to work that harder to get noticed. It's like in your first year, you'll have to work hard to get into the second year. You're like, okay, man, I rule this place. So in your, when you become an influencer, see, then your brand's chasing you for deals. So then you're commercializing your reach, which is fine. You worked hard for it. But for a brand, I think what we've done is when people say influencer strategy, a lot of people assume A-lister names, big budget names. We've relied on them very sparingly because see, they don't bring content, they bring reach. If I'm buying media, I need to look at them just as I want to reach, say, 3 million people. I can put it on YouTube, I can put it on television, I can work with this influencer to reach that, get that kind of reach. Once you start evaluating that collaboration, then the numbers make sense. But you'll never get great content with that. And if you happen to be in their stories, you will be sandwiched between 10 brands on one side, five brands on the other side. I'm telling you, one of the things which is hard, but you have to do is don't compromise the long term for the short term. The minute you start posting discounts and sales, you alienate your audience. So I think that is something which you've done well. The other thing which we have also done well is we've not, a lot of brands repost and repurpose the same content across social media platforms. The same thing gets posted across Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Very different. Today, if I were to, broad base it for YouTube, our content would be 80% of education, 20% would be entertainment. Because people there are giving you that 3.5 minutes to actually understand what you want to talk about. See, Instagram, firstly, you can create the world's best content, but to be able to show the content, you need to do something very critical. You need to make them stop scrolling. How do you make
Yeah.
them stop scrolling? I literally have to earn your attention, and then before you start scrolling again, in that small sliver of 20 seconds I have, push my messaging across. Which is why a lot of Instagram content is reverse engineered. You have to have a hook in the title image or the first 3 seconds of your content. That hook is not intended to communicate what you want to communicate. It is just intended to stop the audience from scrolling. Once you're able to do that, then before they start scrolling again, you get maybe 15 to 20 seconds, push out your message that is. So in a way it flips. Instagram is more of entertainment, some of education, but that first part is important to get the audience because it has become that cluttered. And the amount of sponsored ads that you see in your feed that these days, it's not going to reduce. It's just going to keep increasing. So yes, it helps to stay authentic, but it also helps to uh, plan content, not in isolation, saying that I'm going to create an ad and run the same thing across 4 channels. Different platforms exist because they serve a very different need. There is a need for YouTube which is not met by Instagram, and there's a need for Instagram which is not met by Twitter. I think this brands forget when they try to brute force ad campaigns through money. We've so far not had to resort to that. I really hope we don't have to resort to that. So that's how I think that's how these are different.
Yeah, definitely
Um,
not. Moving on to then.
Kaushik, you mentioned about influencers and they've been using and endorsing a lot of different brands. So, is there
Yeah.
any particular strategy that you use while selecting these influencers, or how do you go about it?
So we're talking, if you're talking influencers and not creators, because creators,
Yes.
in our internal parlance, we use creators for those who are actually spending a lot of time
Spending
creating.
time.
We actually go into depths of what is the quality of the look we are creating, how contextual is it, what is the, I mean, what is the output? Whereas you don't get that much time with influencers because it's become very commercial, which is fine because influencers are like celebrities of the digital world. So they will act and behave like celebrities. So when we do, we have to be laser sharp in our ask. We say, okay, if we are launching a new television campaign and we want to amplify them on digital using maybe 4 to 5 influencers, then we purely go by numbers and we say, this is the kind of reach we expect to reach. And see, marketing at the end of the day is a reach and frequency game. That I'm going to
Yes.
reach, say, 3 million people at a frequency of 5 plus over the next 5 weeks, and that I expect will build consideration for whatever I'm advertising. So those are my numbers. And reach is more valuable when you build it cross-platform. It's not that same Instagram feed me you see 5 times. You see it on television, you see it on Instagram, you see it on OTT, hopefully television, hopefully newspaper. So that's our objective. So when we work with big ticket influencers, it is a numbers game. We say, okay, we have to reach X million people. Uh, 3 people should be able to give us because whatever their follower number is, their actual reach numbers are much lesser,
Much
and
lesser.
which at least now all of them have media kits, so they are able to share their reach and we are able to plan it. And that's how we look at. Also, we look at, and if you've been on social media long enough, you'll also understand that. See, I mean, men are really hard to target because men are very distracted on social media. They will follow a
Yeah.
cricketer, lingerie model, and then tech. I mean, how do you how do you even target somebody? This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So women that way they're far more consistent. I mean, they'll either follow friends or they will follow women they actually look up to. And I mean, women following men is like not, I mean, far lesser as a percentage compared to men following women. So that way, wherever we see that, okay, 30% or say 35 to 40% of somebody's following is women, we know that's genuine content, and then it ties up. When you look at the content, you will see that it is less salesy stuff.
Yeah.
It is also content around where the influencer has authentically called out brands that have tried to subvert the law or push something which is not cool, and that builds consistency, that builds credibility. आज के environment, the toughest thing for influencers is to hang on to their credibility. The more you commercialize,
Mm.
the more your credibility is risk. So
And do you see a trend in shifting priorities of these influencers, whether they are moving towards being more conscious of what things they are putting out for their audience?
they are doing it. Those who did it one year back, they're the OGs. They're the real one. Those
Yeah.
who are doing it now, they are doing it because they are getting traction.
Yeah.
Like today, if food farmer is talking about label pado and that's getting
Yes.
traction, today all influencers are going to say label pado. So with no, firstly credit to them, which is good that they're
Yes.
also backing a movement because their clout matters when it comes to. But I mean, OGs will remain OGs. So that yeah. So there is a change completely.
And finally, I just wanted to ask you if whether do you rely on any specific metrics? You talked about the kind of audience that you want to reach out using these influencers, but are there any other metrics, maybe in terms of a return on investment or any other specific metric that you look for these advertisements that you do?
Great question. So I think let's break it up into 2 parts. One is let's say top of the funnel. You're building awareness. Second
Yes.
is you're building actual consideration, transactions, bottom of the funnel. So see, bottom of the funnel is easier to measure because you get the number of orders. That okay, I
Mm.
did a 10 lakh campaign. I sold goods worth 10 lakhs. So it's a
Yeah.
return on ad spend of 1 on 1, which is terrible by the way. But I'm just saying, that. So those are still measurable. But see, the more you go into upper funnel, you realize that you are building a reach and frequency to hit say those 1 out of 10 touch points of that you want to do with the audience, that you want to get with the audience. So you can't measure bottom of the funnel metrics. Top of the funnel metrics would be how many people did it reach, impressions, frequency. These we get. Now, what more can we get? I think that's when social media gives a lot of data, but I think we focus on the wrong data. We often focus at follower metrics.
Mm.
Follow metrics, as I just said, it can be very, very irrelevant. You look at there could be audiences that are much older than who you want to target. I mean, Sugar started because at least in the first 5 years, our audience base was 18 to 24. Now that 18 to 24 has grown and become 30, 32, 36. But that time, a lot of, brands, influencers, their audience base was in 35 plus. So we also struggled to find the initial days, those who were young and experimenting a lot with color and makeup. So that's that. Secondly, people, in the report mentioned this post got so many views. Uh, that is a overarching statement. Break it down into how many organic views and how many boosted views. You have to look at that separately because you can just put money and boost the views. I'm not saying that doesn't matter, but that is separate. The true test of how your content quantity, your content quality is organic reach. Boosting is fine. See, boosting would be rather when you boost it, you often boost it with a call to action, saying that visit this or buy this. So there you track more mid funnel metrics. When you're releasing organic content, at least for the first 48 hours before you start boosting it, you have to check the traction, that what is the organic traction is getting. And you posted something which in the first 48 hours has significantly like 15% more than the average saves you're getting or forwards you're getting.
Yeah.
उस पे पैसे लगाओ, boost that content, and that content is going to take you places. So it is very easy for you and me to just sit in a room and say, wow, I've created a masterpiece. It doesn't matter. Janta is king. They're going to decide whether you've created a masterpiece or not. But don't focus on likes and comments. Focus on forwards and shares. I think that's what we've also followed, and it's really worked.
Yeah, I think that is very insightful.
Kaushik, thank you so much for sharing
Perfect,
your
perfect.
journey and insights with us today. It's been inspiring to hear how Sugar continues to innovate and connect with its audience. For our listeners, if you really enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave us a review.